See, we are live. So, welcome everybody. I'm Alan Thomas with Rethink Dieting, and I've got today with me a new member of the 50-pound club, and that is 50 pounds released of weight, and Scott Tharp. And Scott, if you'd introduce yourself to everybody and tell them where you're from, what do you do, kind of your particulars.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be in the 50-pound club. Obviously, my name is Scott Tharp, and currently I reside actually here in Florida, in Central Florida, just south of Orlando and Tampa. If you were to take a triangle, we'd be right down at the bottom of it. I'm actually originally from Ohio, but I'm a pastor by vocation. Married to my beautiful bride. I have three wonderful daughters, and by God's grace, I'm now in the Sunshine State, and just thoroughly enjoying life as it is right now, and especially now that I'm in the 50-pound club. So
There you go. Well, that's awesome. So you and I met. I guess it was around February, mid-February, sometime along in
mhm,
there. And so kind of walk people through, because I mean the whole thing that a lot of people get surprised. We never in Rethink Dieting, we never tell people what to eat, what exercises do. I mean, do you have to change what you eat? Of course, everybody knows this. I mean, it's common sense, but we really focus on the fact it's a decision. There's a way out, and to bring hope to people. So, kind of walk the folks that are listening through. Where were you before? I mean, where were you? What did that look like?
um, it was not a good place, Alan. I mean, for 30 years, I had battled with weight up and down and up and down. And I mean, I have tried every diet that's out there. I mean,
Mhm.
I even in the religious circles, I did the way down workshop stuff in the religious circles, and I mean, I did it all, and um, I all every time, and you actually hit the key there, the decision making factor. Every single time that I got the weight off, it was always this. All right, how long? How long? Because the mind shift component was the part that I never had tackled. Um, I had never come to the place where I actually believed that I was actually a healthy, fit individual. I just never had that. Yeah, I mean, I was an athlete, my previous years, when college and so forth. But as soon as college ended, the athlete disappeared. Even though I was large, I still had the athletic ability. And people, he's fast, blah blah blah. Even though he's big, but the mindset of a fit person was completely gone. Now, what necessarily transpired to make that happen, I'm not exactly certain, but I know that after 30 years of it, over and over, okay,
Mhm.
got there, went down, got there, went down. The mindset within myself was, "You'll never be healthy. You'll never be healthy." And this year, um, in January, I was at the highest weight I'd ever been,
Mhm.
over 200. I was at 260 pounds, not over. I was at 260 pounds, and I was feeling pressure in my chest.
Mhm.
In fact, Alan, the first day you met me, you said, "Call your doctor. Call your doctor." So that was day one. I mean,
No,
that was that.
no. If you remember, I'd have to go back and listen to that call, but I believe I said, if you don't, you've got to promise me you're going to call your
Yeah,
doctor.
that yeah,
You're gonna promise me if you don't, because I knew you were a man of your word. If you
yep.
promised you would, so yeah.
That's
But
exactly
go
right.
ahead.
That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
I'd forgotten about that, but I said you've got to promise me, or we don't continue the call.
That's exactly right.
So,
And so I did. I promised I did. I called the doctor and we scheduled up some, battery of tests and things with me, some echocardiograms and things like that. But the point being is all this extra weight, extra stress, mindset that was completely, utterly just wrong.
Mhm.
I was like, there's no hope in this. And in January, again, I'm a man of faith. But in January, I sensed that my loving Father said, "Scott, this is the year of breakthrough for you." And so I
Mhm.
began praying about that, and and then I got introduced through another affiliate
Mhm.
that you're aware of, and that through Alan, and I watched that, and I said, "Oh, I've got to call Alan," because for the first time, I felt like there was hope. I felt like there
Mhm.
was hope, and then when I talked with Alan that day, the mindset began to shift, and it
Mm.
has continued to grow and continue to progress even to this moment. So
Oh,
at
wow.
that point, I went, I know I'm healthy. I know I'm healthy.
Yeah. And that was pre-doctor's appointment, pre all that. So, and you're, yeah. And I'd love for you to, I mean, why did you do it though? I mean, really, I mean, why, I mean, you're 50, if you don't mind saying, I think, how I don't even know, you look
Yeah,
like you're 25.
I'm about to turn 50 this year.
About to turn 50. I thought, so you was 40 or 50. Forgive me for not remembering specifically,
That's all right.
but so you're about to, so, lots of people are 280, 290. You're how tall? How tall are you?
I'm only 5'8".
5'8". I mean, I talk to people that are 300, 350 pounds or 5'8", or even more. I mean, there's, it's certainly common to be overweight in the obesity category. I mean, that's a common thing. I mean, why even bother to change? I mean, why?
Um, that's an emotional question,
Go
and
ahead, man. You're among friends. I cry at Walmart openings. I just ask Angie. So,
the answer is I started looking down the road. I have
hmm,
3 daughters, like I indicated, and my oldest moved out of the house, um, and my mother had just passed away in September. And from September to February, when you and I met, Alan, obviously I did not handle the loss of my mom, the loss of my oldest daughter moving out well, and I put on a lot of weight. In fact, I put on, this was that part of that yo-yo. I put on 40 pounds in that
hmm,
short 6 month period of time. And that's when the pressure started building up. And I started thinking, and I started looking forward. And I said, 10 years from now, I'm gonna be 60. My baby will be 20. And I said, if I continue this trajectory, if I continue this path of unhealthy living and this kind of lifestyle, if I continue this kind of path, am I going to actually be there?
hmm,
And that was not a thought that I wanted. I knew, even just, I mean, thinking about even my own kids, the struggle they were having. They've got only one grandparent left, and over the last year and a half, they'd lost three. And
hmm,
yet, they had a great relationship with those three grandparents, and now they're down to just the one. And it got me thinking, what do I want from my grandkids? What kind of
hmm,
legacy do I want to leave with my kids? That other side of that emotional component of this, Alan, is that I've told my kids over and over from the very beginning. I've said, you
hmm,
guys can do anything that you really set your mind to. I've told them this, but yet
hmm,
I wasn't living it out. I wasn't. I told them they could do whatever they wanted to, but yet I'm over here at 260 pounds. What kind of example was that for me to say to my kids? I mean, it's the do as I say, but not as I do. And that's not healthy. And so even over these last 4 months or so that you and I have been together, my kids have even commented about it. Even my youngest comes up and rubs my belly now, and she's like, "It's gone." And
How that
and
feel, man? I bet that feels great.
it feels great. It really does feel
Yeah,
great. But
love it.
and it's given me opportunity, actually, with the 2 older ones. It's given me opportunity to even say to them, "Girls, part of the reason I'm doing this is for you. Yes, predominantly, I'm doing it for my own health, but part of it, I'm doing it for you because I've told you these things from the very beginning, that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to, and I want you to see that your dad is a person who can accomplish anything he sets his mind to as well, because it really is that decision." And so that's really these kind of components. I want to be here for my kids. I want to be here for my
Mhm,
kids' kids. And I want to
mhm,
prove to my kids they really can do whatever they set their mind to in this world. These kind of things were the catalyst to when the father
mhm.
said to me in January, "This is your year of breakthrough in your health and your finances and every aspect of your life. This is your year." And I went, "This is," and I'm going to grab hold of it. I'm going to run in that belief, and I'm going to change my mind. And so that's what I've been doing.
No, I love that, and I didn't know about that until after you were part of Rethink Dieting, but enrolled in the program. But what you heard from God, but it is interesting. I happen to call those first calls where I assess people and decide if I believe they're right for rethink dieting. I call them breakthrough calls. So I thought that was kind of interesting when you said that. But no, I love that. And so now fast forward now. Okay, here you are. From mid-February to this morning. 58 pounds basically in that period of time. You're about to see the 200s go away on your scale. The number that's very shortly is going to be starting
That's
with
right.
a one. With
That's
a
right.
one. I mean, it's rare air. I mean, it is. And people say, well, 50 pounds, that's a lot. I mean, we spend lifetimes. You've got 30 years gaining that weight. I know you had an increase over, the last several months, but it takes a lifetime to get it. And here you're moving through it. Are you starving yourself? I mean, really?
No, no, no.
Okay.
No, in fact, let me explain just how this might
Yeah.
help. This we adopted our children. We
Hmm.
went from two people to five people in one day because we adopted three siblings,
Wow.
and so and we adopted internationally. Our girls are from Costa
Hmm.
Rica, and one of the things you do with well, most adoptions, but especially with international adoptions, is you celebrate a thing called Gotcha Day. Now,
Hmm.
technically, our Gotcha Day is on June 1st, but because of I was out of town and I was flying back in that day, we had to postpone it till Saturday. And so
Hmm.
on Saturday, we it's Gotcha Day is a big day. It's a big day of celebration.
Hmm.
I mean, we
Hmm.
go out, we spend lots of money, we eat lots of food, and we just
Hmm.
celebrate the day. Well, knowing that this was going to happen, I made some prep plans on the front end
Hmm.
of the week, but on Saturday, we went to Texas de Brazil. I ate I ate more beef than I know what to even think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I and so no, I ate dessert, I ate plantains, I ate it all. I had a root beer float, you know,
Hmm.
at
There you
lunch
go.
because it was a planned process. And
Yep.
so what part of what I'd say is nowhere am I starving myself. All I'm doing is I'm being intentional about what I do. And again,
Yeah.
it comes back to the mindset. It comes back to the
It,
mindset. I'm intentionally thinking about what I'm gonna do.
and so many people probably who listen to this, think, oh my gosh, he ate beef or he did this, and I just have a core belief that Jesus declared all the food good. He just didn't say eat all of it, and so at the same time, and so clearly, I mean, there's parameters because you can't you've got to change in things,
Yeah.
but you're not. Are you doing crazy exercise? Are you doing like
Mm-mm.
marathons every day, running 80 miles a week, doing
No.
things like that? Or I mean, so
No.
you're doing sensible is the whole point.
Yes.
Stuff
Now
that
I
just
do
makes
exercise.
sense.
Obviously, that was a
Sure.
change that I had to make. I have to exercise. But when I walk. Now,
Hmm.
granted, twice a week I do run now, but when I
Hmm.
first started, I couldn't run. It hurt. So, but now as I've lost some weight, now twice a week I actually do run. But still 3 days I'm just walking. And my resistance exercise, I do some resistance training
Hmm.
with like weight type stuff, but it's body weight. I use machines that allow me to use my own
Hmm.
body weight. So I'm not throwing, stacks of weight on a dumbbell going. "Argh." So I'm a 50-year-old man almost. I'm not gonna hurt myself. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to max out, on a bench press of 400 pounds like I was back in college or stuff. It's not what
Well,
I'm
and
doing.
one thing that we talk about a lot, and I have, and Rick, who was in a graduating program a while back. I think Rick Sponholtz, who's been on here with me. Rick's an individual cannot exercise. I mean, he
Yeah.
physically has fused vertebrae, walks with a walker, and I think last I looked, he's down about 100 pounds right now. So
Yeah.
so it's so the point of the exercise is that you can, and it feels good, and so it's not this slave that you're not become a slave to it, so to speak. It's because you want to. It is what
Exactly.
my hope is for you, and I believe that's what's happening. Now you did compete though, which was pretty cool. I got to saw those pictures. Tell us
I
about that.
did. I did. There's it's a fundraiser for some
Yeah.
local missions here where I live, and I ran a 5K, and
Hmm.
I did finish seventh in my age bracket, which, as
There
big
you
as
go.
I was actually pretty darn pleased that I got seventh. So next year we'll see if I can do better.
There you go. No, I love that. I love that. So that's kind of the now. So what's the future look like? I mean, what's the dream? I mean, we talk about that a lot. I mean, you're about to turn 50. It's one of those marker years. I had my marker year 10 years ago. I got a double mark this last birthday, so 60 for me. But so what does it make possible now? I mean, now, and number one question I have is, what would you say to somebody who says, Scott, I just don't believe you'll lose this weight, and God knows if you lose it, I mean, for crying out loud, you're going to gain it all back. I mean, what'd you say to somebody that says that to you?
Now, I say, all right, I'll prove you wrong, because there's no way I'm ever going back. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned things about myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I keep saying it, and you said it at the beginning, but it is so important. It's really it's the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Sure.
have the right mindset, you really can accomplish anything. And so there's no longer a reticence. There's no longer even a fear. See, I would say in the past, one of the biggest differences between this one and this joining you and other programs I've done in the past is there was always that fear of what will happen what will happen when I actually get to my weight, what will happen. And in the past, it was always, man, I'm just gonna go right back to what I did before. I
Mm-hmm.
reached my goal and now I'm going right back. That is not the case anymore. Now it is, there is no way on earth, come hell high water, I will not go back to
Mm-hmm.
living the life the way that I once did. There's too much at stake.
Mm-hmm.
There's aspects, Alan, we were talking about like what was life like before. There
Mm-hmm.
there was aspects about my weight that I didn't even realize were impacting me
Mm-hmm.
until after we started this journey. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm a public speaker, for goodness sakes, and yet the confidence that I had as a public speaker has drastically, or unbeknownst to me, because I really was pretty good at it, but unbeknownst to me, I was not as authoritative. I was not as influential
Mm-hmm.
in my public speaking as I am right now. And I sense that even as I get closer to my home weight, I think you're gonna see more and more of that, because more and more of the confidence, more and more of the mindset, more and more of the assurance that I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
walking within my Father's plan. I think all these things
Mm-hmm.
are going to start coming out. So I've already seen ramifications
Mm-hmm.
of just where my life is in the last 4 months because of this. And
Mm-hmm.
people comment about it. People say things to me about it. People that have known me
Oh yeah.
before and people that know me now, and they're like, "You're not the same," and I'm not. I'm not the same man that I was 4 months ago because I changed my mind.
Yeah, no, spot on. I mean, and you're preaching to the choir. So I love that. And what do you see? I mean, you're pastor. You've got a clearly it's such a huge responsibility. I mean, being a husband, major responsibility. Being a father, but to be a pastor, you get under the microscope even when unfairly so in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But you're under people's microscope. It's almost like people looking for something. I mean, what's it like stepping into your congregation now and then seeing this journey? Because you can't hide it.
No. No, even Sunday, I had some folks comment to me and say, "I think it's time for you to get some new clothes," you know? And they're right, because the clothes that I currently have are still a little, they're big, they're falling off.
Hmm.
And so they're absolutely correct. But what that does is that, again, that just spurs on
Hmm.
the confidence, that I'm walking the right path. I'm making the right
Hmm.
decisions. And this guy's, I can't control what other people necessarily think or do,
Sure.
but it's become pretty evident to me over the last 4 months. People did look down on my weight, and
Hmm.
my influence in their life was kind of like, why should I listen to you? You can't even control what you put in your own mouth.
Hmm.
Why should I listen to you? That's a valid question. Um, Again, a man of faith, the scriptures tell me that My body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. I'm not my own. I was purchased with a price. Therefore, I'm supposed to honor God with my body. So if I couldn't even honor God with my own body, how am I supposed to influence other people? And
Mhm.
I didn't even realize the negative ramification of that until really this journey. I never even thought about it. And all these 30 years of up and downs, up and downs, by the way, with mostly being ups, I never even thought about
Mhm.
that. Never even thought about it.
Well, and you and I've talked about this, and I've talked about it with some pastor friends that I have. It's and especially in the Southeast. I mean, the Christian community is alcohol wrong or right, well, whatever somebody believes. Jesus drank wine. I mean, go figure. I mean, but he said don't be drunk, and so we're very cautious about that in the Christian community. Okay, but when if when a leader has 3 plates of fried chicken that maybe needs to lose 100 pounds. The leader that eats
Mhm.
3 plates of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, and biscuits, and all the fix. And the only question that leader will be asked within the Christian community is, "What would you like for dessert?" And so
Yeah.
I love that you're seeing the benefit. I mean, it's not the shame. I mean, some people listen to this, and I'll probably get some strong responses to this, but the reality is it's not the shame. This is just reality. We cannot argue with reality.
That's
We
it.
cannot. We if we argue with it, we lose, but only 100% of the time.
Mm.
Okay, so that I'm trying to think of who said that originally. That is a quote from somebody, but it's like arguing with reality, and the fact that you're stepping into it, and the good news of that is you were hopeless and you're giving other people hope. And have you seen that? And I haven't even asked you this. This is totally unscripted. Everybody knows that watches my interviews. They're totally unscripted, so love it or hate it. But when you have you seen it in any spots where you may have encouraged somebody, not necessarily weight. I mean, weight is because not everybody has weight to lose, but they have weight they carry.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Um, in fact, you mentioned it. I mean, the individual that just immediately popped in my head. This individual does have a weight journey, but that's not their area where they're even focusing on. They're not even That's not the area where they're even trying to tackle. They're addicted to cigarettes, and they know the dangerous ramifications of them on their own life. And
Mhm.
they said they've even spoken to me. They're like, if you can lose this kind of weight, I know I can stop this smoking habit. Well,
Boom.
if
Love that.
I'm like, "Man, that's a win. That's a win."
Yes.
And it was just a win based on me living out what I felt convicted about, and them
Mhm.
now seeing the evidence of it and saying, "There is hope." So, yeah, that's just one example of one that popped in my head, but there have been others. And again, some are weight, some are not. But, yeah, people have actually said to me, "Come to me because you've done this, I'm doing this."
Yeah, and that is, I love that because it is we live in a fallen world that's full of people that don't have hope, and then you were and I believe this, and I believe that the 304 pounds I used to carry that I don't want anymore, and I don't ever plan to get I never will, not only plan but never will go back there. And the weight that you carried, I believe they were a gift in a way. It wasn't a gift that we want to keep, as I
Correct.
said many times, but the fact that you can't see somebody visibly, maybe quit even cigarettes. They could hide it to a great degree. I mean,
Mhm.
but or struggle with relationships or struggle with other areas, maybe alcohol or drug abuse or those things, but they can see your weight and your journey. You can't hide it. And so it does offer hope. I mean, I love that. I mean, that somebody came up to you about that because the stories that we hear are always, I mean, that's when we do what we do because it's just fun to watch that hope being given. So awesome.
Absolutely.
So what would you say has been the hardest thing part of the journey? I don't think I've ever asked you about that, but I'm just hitting my brain.
I need to think about that because truly, Alan, I mean, again, I can't, I'm a broken record. As soon as I made the decision,
Hmm.
nothing has been hard. I guess I think I just thought of it. I think I just thought of it along the way. This has not been a purely ski slope thing.
Yes.
Along this journey over the last 4 months, the weight's gone up, down, up, down, up, down. Now, has it had a downhill trajectory for the most part. I mean, consistently, yes. But have I lost weight every single week? No, I haven't. Have I lost as much some weeks as other weeks? No, I haven't. During the entire week, does it sometimes go up and down? Yes, it does. And when we first got on this journey, that was a mindset shift that was incredibly frustrating for me. I'm a very type A type personality. If you give me the blueprint and I walk the blueprint, I expect that blueprint to do exactly what it's supposed to do. You know, what I did not know was that the blueprint is up and down, up and down, up and down like a stock chart.
Mhm.
And so that, I guess, was the frustrating part. If there was a hard part, if
Mhm.
if there was a hard part, that was the hard part. But then you and I talked, and as soon as we had our conversation, we talked about it. It was like, again, mind shift change, eyes opened up,
Mhm.
and it was like, oh, this is actually normal. And because this is
Mhm.
normal, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I said, I don't have to worry about that anymore, I just need to run the race that is set before
Mhm.
me, there's not been really a challenge. I get up, I exercise. You told me, you said, take that scale with you everywhere you go. I was down on that vacation in Ecuador, or not vacation, I was on a mission trip in Ecuador. I took that scale with me and I
Yep.
weighed myself every day. You know, I just followed the plan. I'll just follow the plan,
It,
follow the plan.
it's just information. It
Yeah.
is, but for so many people, and I mean, this was this way for me for years. It was like, oh my God, it's a judgment of who I am as a human being, or whatever, and it's not. I mean, you're gaining information because the whole idea of this journey is, number one, it starts with a decision, which is really the hardest part for everybody, is making that decision to say, I'm sick and tired of this weight problem, and I'm done with it forever. When you make that shift, and you made it very early in your journey. Okay, you
Mhm.
did, which I it happens differently for different people. But when you made that shift, it was so interesting, and you didn't notice. I don't think I verbalized this. You became the 165-pound guy that gained weight and stopped being the 260-pound guy that is losing weight.
Yeah,
That's the shift
it really
right there,
was.
because it resets your identity of who you are, and it's just a matter of time. And the fact that, when we look in the rearview mirror and you say, 58 pounds in less than 4 months, wow, that's really fast. But in the middle of it, it doesn't feel very fast, does
No, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
it?
No, but I know I'm there already. But I know I'm
Yeah,
already there. So
yeah.
yeah, you're right. It doesn't feel fast, but the reason it doesn't feel fast is because I'm already there. I'm
Yeah,
just waiting on the
I
body to
mean,
catch up.
that's right. So, curiosity from a health perspective, have you? I don't. Have you been to the doctor recently? Have they?
Yeah.
And so, what was that trip like compared to the one back in January? I'm curious.
Uh, 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 Drastically different. When I had already, by the time, after I spoke to the doctor, we then scheduled the stress test and we scheduled
Hmm.
the echocardiogram and things of that nature. And I was, because the way doctors are, they didn't actually get me into those tests for like a month after the initial contacting of the doctor. So,
Well.
so it was like, um, mid-March or something, or late March by the time I got
Hmm.
in there and got some of these tests done. Well, I'd already lost like 20 pounds or something like that
Hmm.
in that time period. And so even getting on the treadmill, for example, for the stress test, they went, "All right, let's see how far you can go." 12 minutes later, they're like, "You can stop if you want. We've got all the information we need." And basically, I had no pains whatsoever. All that pressure that I had been feeling, it's all gone. There hasn't been a
That's
single moment of
awesome.
pressure since then.
That's awesome.
Um, and I know when I talked to about the echo, they're like, "Yeah, these are your numbers." See, I have cardiomyopathy. That's the part of the
Hmm.
issue. So my
Hmm.
heart doesn't function the way it's supposed to anyway. But when you add all that extra weight on it, I was putting so much pressure that already a weak heart was already struggling. But they already, you're an anomaly, Scott. You don't make any sense. You should be having to walk 3 minutes and put an oxygen mask on. And yet you went 12 minutes and didn't have any hiccups. You ran the 5K, had no hiccups. They're like, you don't make any sense. I'm like, I don't have to make any sense. I feel great. I'm looking good.
There you go.
So running the race.
I love it. No, I love it. And you've shown up, man. You have. I mean, kudos to you for showing up. A lot of people resist the process, but the process works when you work the process. It really does. And you, it's not rocket science, but it is challenging at times. I mean, people get that, and you've stepped into it. And when you made that shift, it was just so funny. I read it. I think you emailed me or texted me, and it was like the whole demeanor had changed. I said, "Yep, he's got it. He just made that shift. So great job."
Yeah.
Well, Scott, I can't wait to see you at the and now 165. That's a number you said. I don't tell people what to weigh because I believe weight is where you're free, and so that's different for everybody. But you set that number. Is there anything about that number that you want to talk about, or?
Yeah, because actually I originally, and this comes back to mindset. I originally actually set it at 170. And I
Mm-hmm.
originally had set it for 170 by Thanksgiving. And
Mm-hmm.
just this last week, when I crossed the halfway point to my new home weight, I
Mm-hmm.
actually changed it. And I wrote a thing to our group about that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because of the 30-year journey, um, I believed in my head in February I can make 170. I believed I could make 170 by Thanksgiving. As this journey has progressed, after the mind shift changed and after the true belief system of what we're doing, I went, that's not it. That's not it. Only one time have I actually been at 155 pounds. All my
Mm-hmm.
BMI rating stuff and that stuff's irrelevant. But all those things say that for a guy my age, for a guy my height,
Mm-hmm.
159 below should be where I'm at. I didn't put 159 because I didn't believe I could get to 159. I put 170 because I believed I could get to 170. Well, as about a month back, maybe even a little further than that,
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, that's not it. That's not
Mm-hmm.
it. 155 is where I have felt the best in my entire life. And that was 30 years ago. But I felt the best then. And I said, that's where I'm going. So I changed my goal, my home weight from 170 to 155. And then I said, I'm also changing the due date. My due
Mm-hmm.
date was Thanksgiving. I
Mm-hmm.
said, now my home weight goal day is my birthday. By the time I turn 50, I will be at 155, and
I
that
love
is
that.
September 20th. So
Yep.
it is an aggressive goal, but I already know I'm already halfway there. I got 100 something days left to get there. This is a piece of cake.
There you
I'm
go.
there.
The food metaphors pop out when we talk about that.
And
So
it
I love it.
it's
I love
great.
it. Oh, that's awesome. I know your family, your wife, and your daughters are proud of you, and as I am. I'm just this is like music to my ears because we want to live these amazing lives of possibility. We want to do all these things, and then we trade it in like Esau did for a bowl of stew.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's just sad, and people say, "Oh, well, you're fat shaming." No, I'm not. I mean, I really believe that we're called to something higher, and regardless of what somebody believes, I'm not preaching, but I'm not qualified as you are to preach. So, and but when you lean into this, and then it's almost like God says, "Okay, you can handle this. Now we're going to open the floodgates for you."
Yeah.
And because I had to make sure you're going to handle, I could trust you with this before I trust you with this other stuff. And you certainly are proving yourself trustworthy, my friend. So great job on it. And I'd love to have you back on at that home weight. We call it home weight because that's where we want to live. Once you
Yeah.
live in there, once you live in there. So not a goal, but a home. So
Yep.
great job. And for those of you that are listening that want to know what Rethink Dieting is all about, you can go to rethinkdieting.com, and where I share the exact same 5-step strategy that Scott saw back in early February. Walk you through how my wife and I lost 192 pounds in 260 days, and how we show other people to do exactly the same thing. And so go to rethinkdieting.com. And if you're somebody that really, if you want to have an honest conversation, we call them breakthrough calls. And after you watch that, I encourage you to watch that. But if you want to get on the phone with me, talk about it, and see if Rethink Dieting is right for you, it's not. Just so you guys know, we map out some strategy, we go through process, but we get them there to really to see if the Rethink Dining process is a fit for you. And so go to transformmyfuture.com/apply. And Scott, as we say, we look forward to seeing less of you the next time we meet. And you're doing amazing. So have a blessed day, everybody, and take care.
All right. See ya.